Welcome to Focus on Albany. I'm Cynthia Pooler. My guest today is Erin Johanns, and Erin is going to talk about the Love Your Neighborhood block grant, and I believe she's going to talk about Grant Street today. So, Erin, what's new with your program?
So we are very excited. Just this past Tuesday, we officially released our second round of mini grant applications for the Love Your Block program. We are accepting submissions for our mini grants from April 4th through Monday, May 16th.
And what area does this encompass?
So anyone who is a resident of the city of Albany can apply. However, our program focuses particularly on neighborhoods that are red and yellow lined. For our listeners that are unfamiliar with those terms, red and yellow lining is the process of denying loans and other business opportunities to residents because it would be believed to be a poor financial investment. Many of these decisions were made back in the 30s due to racist policies around the Depression. But with Love Your Block, we're looking to undo the decades of damage that occurred because of that. And so we're focusing in particular on neighborhoods like Arbor Hill, West Hill, North Albany, and the South End. However, we also understand that many aspects of red and yellow lining don't stay strictly within those neighborhood boundaries. And so we also are opening up to do projects in Beverwick, Park South, Mount Hope, and Sheridan Ave as well.
So are you going to be doing anything in on Grant Street? Because I had mentioned that. Was that correct?
We would definitely love to do a project on Grand Street. We understand that Grand Street has faced a lot of hurdles, especially recently with a huge fire taking out 4 buildings in the neighborhood. So we definitely want to do what we can to give back to the community. And so we strongly encourage anyone who is living on Grand Street or around Grand Street to consider applying for a project or idea.
You know, when I think about Grant Street, I know that years ago that whole area was an Italian neighborhood. And I don't think there was much redlining back then as there might be now. Am I correct?
You know, I wouldn't be able to say, but I know that based on our research on Tulimi building blocks, we have noticed that there are higher rates of evictions and code violations, particularly on Grand Street. And so one of the things that we want to do with our program to preemptively address that is do minor front facade repairs. So if anyone is living anywhere in the South End or in the other neighborhoods that I mentioned, and they have minor issues with their homes, like they might need new shutters, paint, gutters, they might want their wooden front porch or stoop repaired or replaced, that's something that we would be able to help them address.
So you mentioned like little cosmetic things to how to different houses. Overall, is that a benefit to the community as a whole?
So we understand that many people, in hearing generally about Love Your Block, are thinking about applying individually because they're like, oh, my home needs this. But we really strongly encourage people to apply together as a collection of neighbors to nominate other homes on their block that could also benefit from some of those minor repairs. Obviously, with our program, we are a limited grant funded program. We have $20,000 for our grant, so we aren't able to address the full scope of issues that all houses might have. However, we also work very closely with the Albany Community Development Agency and other organizations that work on more intensive home improvement that we would be able to help them with.
Now, this is the second round. Your first round of funding went to what areas?
So our first round, we did a couple of projects in the Mansion neighborhood. We actually did 8 grant-funded projects total and 8 non-grant funded projects. So we did grant-funded projects in West Hill, Arbor Hill, Sheridan Hollow, and the South End, but we also did some non-grant funded projects. And basically what that means is when they applied for their project idea or what they wanted done, we realized that we could achieve that without dipping into our own funding. So that might include something like a community block cleanup, spreading mulch and compost, planting some donated flowers. So that's something that even if your neighborhood isn't necessarily awarded this grant, we can still work with you to achieve some positive effect in your neighborhood.
So this is your second round of funding, right?
Yes, our first year was in 2022, and that was $20,000. And our second year is this year, 2023. And so we have another $20,000 to devote towards projects.
You know, with the needs of some of the neighborhoods and some of the housing, $20,000 does not seem like a lot of money.
We definitely understand that $20,000 can be limiting. And so that's why we really emphasize that it's minor front facade repairs, but we try and do a lot with even the little that we do have through our grant funding. So some of the things that we were able to accomplish last year included picking up over 500 pounds of trash. We also distributed 57 recycling bins to various neighborhoods, and another 25 residents received brand new trash and recycling bins to try and help with, debris and other trash that might blow around the neighborhood. We also installed 2 different community boards. We built 3 raised garden beds for residents, and we repaired or replaced 15 front porches and stoops. We also activated 3 different lots, and we cleared 2 different residents' backyards of debris and overgrowth. So these initiatives might not be able to address the full scope of blight or completely remediate it, but we definitely want to demonstrate to residents that even these small acts of service can still have a positive rippling effect.
Refresh my memory. Who's funding this?
So this grant is funded through Johns Hopkins University and Cities of Service. This program has been around since 2009, and right now it's in all different cities across the country. Albany is just one of several Love Your Block cities. The other cities include El Paso, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, Shawnee, Oklahoma, Jackson, Tennessee, and White Plains, New York.
What criteria is required for somebody to get this grant, or is a city to get this grant?
Unfortunately, I was not a part of the application process, but that would be another detailed question. I would be able to ask Sam Wells. He's the neighborhood stabilization coordinator and was the person who applied for this grant. But I know that for a resident to qualify, I just want to put it out there that we have no income qualifications. So we're not going to do any background check or income verification or anything like that. All you have to do is have your project take place within one of our target neighborhoods. Obviously, if it falls outside of it, I would still encourage people to apply. They would need to be a resident, and then they would need to nominate a minimum of 3 different homes in the neighborhood that their project is taking place that could benefit from those repairs. So we're hoping to build on the work that we did last year. We're hoping to do some weatherization that would also help residents both in the colder months and the hotter months as well. And then in addition to the minor front facade repairs, there's a second aspect to our grant application, and that's the community project portion.
Now, is this going to be an ongoing project, or is there a cutoff date that the funding will stop?
So we currently have funding secured through the end of this year. We were awarded funding for 2 years, but we're looking into other initiatives to continue our funding and continue our work. Obviously, doing just 2 years of work is not going to be enough to make a big dent in remediating blight in Albany's neighborhoods. However, we're definitely considering applying again for the Johns Hopkins University grant, and we're looking into other donors and potential sources of funding to keep the program going.
Okay, so the benefits last year after the year was completed, did you see a big difference in the neighborhoods after the grant was the money spent for the grant was done?
Much of the work that we're doing is not necessarily going to have an immediate effect. However, many of the residents were extremely grateful. The immediate effects that we did witness is that a lot of the neighborhoods were cleaner because we did trash pickups. Many of the residents were extremely grateful to have their front porches and stoops repaired, especially because I know in a few cases the porches and stoops were actually deemed unsafe and could have potentially caused an injury. So some of the immediate effects aren't necessarily observable in the typical sense. There's the before and after pictures that demonstrate the quality of the work, but I think the deeper aspect of Love Your Block is going to be something that continues to be ongoing, and that's why we want to focus on the sustainability of the project.
Okay, so if somebody wants to see the before and after pictures, how can they do so?
We had a slideshow available that included all of this, and we presented that, but that is a great point and is something that I can make a note of right now to see if we can include those on our website.
Okay, that sounds great. So for people to see what you're up to, what is the email? I'm sorry. What is the address of the website so people could take a look at what's going on?
So the official address, and this is going to be a little bit wordy, but I'll go ahead and read it. It is albany.gov/21634/9266/love-your-block?active live tab widget. Live tab equals widgets. That is the official address, but if you even just Google and type in the words Albany Love Your Block, it should be the first thing that comes up.
Okay, that sounds great. So this year, refresh my memory, what will you be concentrating on this year?
So this year, we are offering city services as a part of our mini grant. So things like general landscaping, tree and flower planting. We're focusing a lot on our minor front facade repairs, particularly for wooden front porches and stoops. We'll be able to do painting and other weatherization to help homeowners save on energy. And then we're also working with the Albany Local High School to build window boxes as well. So I strongly encourage anyone who thinks that they might qualify to get to know their neighbors, get out into the community and talk about ways that they feel that they could benefit from Love Your Block. The portion that I really want to focus on is the community project idea. As I mentioned earlier, this is an optional part of the mini grant. However, we have had a lot of residents come to us with some great ideas during our outreach, things anywhere from youth programming to community art initiatives, painting murals, to food and resource distribution, block parties. So we strongly encourage people to really sit down with their neighbors and come up with an idea that they feel like could benefit the whole neighborhood or community.
So it's not necessarily one specific area. Anybody in the city could apply.
Yes, but we will be prioritizing applications, as I mentioned, from neighborhoods like Arbor Hill, West Hill, North Albany, the South End, Sheridan Hollow, Park South, Mount Hope, and Beverwick.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. So, is there anything else you'd like to add that people should be aware of?
Yes, we have paper copies of our application for pickup at the Arbor Hill, Howe, North Albany, and Washington Ave Library. We'll also be distributing paper copies as well to Capital District Latinos Cultural Empowerment and the West Hill Refugee Center. You can book an open office hour with me to go over the application if you have any questions. We tried to shorten our application from last year to make it easier to fill out. And if anyone needs assistance with language translation, we are more than happy to work with a translator to help them fill out the application as well.
So, if you're going to be the person that is going to help the community residents, how could they contact you?
So my contact information is the first letter of my first name, that's E, my last name, JOHANNS, at albanyny.gov, or you can also call my phone, that's 518-434-5281.
And is there anything else that I neglected to ask that is important?
Well, I know I could continue to keep going, but I also want to let people know that we will be having a new Love Your Block staff member join us next week. And so I don't have her contact information right now, but her name is Kiskea, and she'll be helping us with outreach, and she'll be another resource to contact as well.
Thank you. This is Focus on Albany. I'm Cynthia Pooler, and I've been talking to Erin Johanns. And if you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you have any concerns, contact Erin. Thank you, Erin, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great day.